got the highest vote ever for a Republican candidate. We won by 36 points with young people. That never happens. A Republican loses by 36 or 40. So I'm going to have to start thinking about TikTok. I think we're going to have to start thinking. Because, you know, we did go on TikTok, and we had a great response. We had billions of views, billions and billions of views. They brought me a chart, and it was a record, and it was so beautiful to see. And as I looked at it, I said, maybe we got to keep this sucker around a little while.
On Wednesday, the US Supreme Court decided to hear arguments over a bid by TikTok to stop a likely ban of the app. It and its China-based parent ByteDance are facing a law intended to force a sale of the popular platform, which boasts over 170 million American users. The Justice Department argues that as a Chinese company, TikTok poses, quote, a national security threat of immense depth and scale because of its access to vast troves of user data. Supreme Court justices will be hearing arguments on the matter on January 10th, with the ban looming a little over a week later on January 19th. TikTok on Wednesday said it was pleased the court will take up the issue. In their filing to the Supreme Court, TikTok and ByteDance said that, quote, if Americans duly informed of the alleged risks of COVID content manipulation choose to continue viewing content on TikTok with their eyes wide open, the First Amendment entrusts them with making that choice, free from the government's censorship. The companies asked the Supreme Court on December 16th to pause the law on First Amendment grounds. That came after a lower court in Washington, D.C. rejected those arguments earlier. Congress had passed the measure back in April, and President Joe Biden, a Democrat, signed it into law. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell on Wednesday compared TikTok to, quote, a hardened criminal. He urged the court to reject any delay. However, Republican President-elect Donald Trump, who unsuccessfully tried to ban TikTok during his first term in the White House in 2020, has reversed his stance. He promised while running for office he would try to save the app from a ban. In a press briefing Monday, he said,
You know, I have a warm spot in my heart for TikTok.
Trump takes office on January 20th, the day after the TikTok deadline.
TikTok is making a last-ditch bid to avert a ban in the US. It and parent company ByteDance filed an emergency request to the Supreme Court on Monday. They're asking for an injunction to halt the ban, which is set to kick in on January 19th. That's based on a law passed by Congress in April, which says a block can only be avoided if China-based ByteDance divests the short video app. The Justice Department has said that the company poses a risk to national security, given its access to vast troves of data on TikTok's 170 million US users. An appeals court has already rejected claims that the ban violates free speech protections. In their Supreme Court filing, the pair argue that Americans should be allowed to choose to view TikTok, free from what they call government censorship. On Monday, they were given a possible glimmer of hope by Donald Trump in his first news conference as president-elect.
You know, I have a warm spot in my heart for TikTok because I won youth by 34 points. And there are those that say that TikTok had something to do with that. Now, Joe Rogan did, and some of the other people that were recommended by my son Barron, he knew names. I said, who is that? Tell me, who's that? Dad, you gotta be kidding. I can't believe you don't know. And I did those interviews, and it was actually sort of cute, if you want to know the truth, but we did them. And that had an impact, but TikTok had an impact, and so we're taking a look at it.
During his first term, Trump had tried to ban TikTok, but the move was blocked in the courts. He has since reversed his position and said during this year's campaign that he would try to save the app. In the Supreme Court filing, ByteDance and TikTok argue that delaying the ban will allow justices to give a ruling and give the Trump administration time to make its own assessment.